It's holding stable at 38 or 3.8 megabytes right now, but it always dips after a little bit. Here we are. Okay, they say that Dustin says that he can see us.
Okay, so we're back. All right, I have to apologize, everybody. Something funky is going on with our Wi-Fi in the building, trying to live stream. Worked perfectly all day long during our testing, and then collapsed right at the wrong time. Just really got going. But nonetheless, we'll make sure we'll clip this all back together properly again, and we'll put it up. This video will obviously go to YouTube and places later. So I'm just going to get straight into it, because I know if you're still there, some of you have been waiting, and I apologize for that. We're going to take 21C today. We've done a few of these live streams already. The content's going to be very much the same. However, what we're going to do very specifically at this time is take you through the 21C and kind of show you where all the items are, like your water tank, or your heater and your water tank, your EMS system, your digital controller, whatever it might be. So we'll go through that first. Let's go do that first, then we'll take you into the orientation room. We'll go through the systems in there. I'd say feel free at any time to ask Dustin whatever questions you have in mind. You don't have to wait for us to get to those systems. So if a question comes into your head you want to ask Dustin. He'll respond to you somewhat instantly. He's exceptionally fast typing. Okay, let's move through. We're just going to go straight inside this 21C just to get going. So I'll let my young assistant lead the way. Okay, so one of the first things, of course, we notice, Harrison, as we come into this trailer has a power awning in place. I'd say one of the most critical, the important items is this switch down here. This is an isolation switch for your power awning. It will kill all power to the power awning, so it has no chance of deploying as you're driving down the road. So if we're packing our trailer up and we're going to get moving, make sure your awning is retracted, fully retracted, and then switch this to the off position. And that kills all the power. And there's a little note down there that basically tells you exactly the same thing. So that will be critically important if you have a power awning, and if you have a manual awning, and we'll talk about this on the next live stream we do. Just make sure it's properly retracted and it's closed. And the way to test your manual awning, whereas with this we keep this in the off position, and we can use the remote control to test it on here. On the manual awning, your test is the pull. So if it's in the open position, it'll pull out, and closed position pulls everything back in. So that's your test on your manual awning. We will go through the deployment of a manual awning in one of our next videos. Okay, let's walk through this unit. Two switches as we walk inside. The inboard switch here is our lights down the center of the trailer. Of course, all lights in the trailer are LED. The center lights are double pole, as in there's two LED lights on it, and they can be switched from this switch here. This will do all the internal central lights in the trailer. Now, of course, these are also switchable from here, so that will completely switch them off, and then as I flip over to the other side, it'll bring one of the lights on for us. So nice switchable lights there. Lights down the sides of the trailer. In some cases are single, and in other cases are double. Certainly in the kitchen area, it's double, and pretty much has the same functionality, where it'll warn either way. And there's something funky going on with this one. Needs to be repaired. There you go. Live streams. Maintenance issue. Okay, so that'll be very quickly be fixed for us. The outboard switch. This is our external light, our porch light. So this will turn the lights on and off externally, or the lights on and off externally. So we'll move through the trailer here, coming down. We'll kind of work our way around. We'll go down this side. If you have the frameless windows, there will be a knob. It'll either be this, or it could be more of a straight knob, rectangular-ish, I guess, in shape. So from here, you can go counterclockwise, and you want to bring these up snug, but not too tight. So that would be nice and snug, and ready to go from there. So that would be our windows. We would close those up. We would put all your items away in the trailer into the locations you want to have them. Close everything up. Nothing to really talk about in the sink area. As we move to our cooktop, so this has a 2-burner cooktop in place. It works just like any other sort of gas range, gas on, igniter, and that will ignite it. If you have the oven, the rings work the same way on the top, but in order to start it up, you have to light the pilot light on the inside of your oven, and that can obviously stay lit while you're at the campground, but you would probably want to turn it out before you go traveling. Close the top down, everything's nice and secure. Of course, we'll turn off the range hood, and we'll talk about this when we get outside. We'll make sure the range hood flap is closed. As I quickly move over, we'll talk about this. We can talk about this a little bit more when we get. We can talk about this a little bit more when we get into the orientation room. This is your display panel. That basically it shows your battery levels, so we're on full charge here. Our freshwater tank, which is empty, our black is empty, and our grey, thankfully, are both empty. Black and grey, we wouldn't like that in the showroom necessarily. Now we have our water heater on here and our water pump. Typically, you know, your water heater you can turn on and pretty much leave on, and it'll just continue to fill and heat. Your water pump, you know, we generally say use it as you need it. So turn it on and turn it off as and when you need it. Otherwise, it kind of cycles after a bit of time. So especially at night time, it'll cycle a little bit, and then it may wake you up. So just turn it on and off. It's a good habit to get into. Move around the back of this trailer. Not much to talk about in terms of speakers and stereo, but let's look down. And this is the part that people are really mostly interested. This particular trailer has solar and has an inverter in place. So this has its inverter. We'll talk more about the inverter when we get inside, but basically it takes the power from the batteries, which are sitting inside this vented battery box inside the trailer. So it takes the power from the batteries at DC to the inverter, which then runs out to 120 volts. And there are a couple of options about whether or not you want to have all your plugs connected to the 120 from the inverter, or just a single plug connected. And generally, if you're going to get an inverter, you might as well get the surge protector and the transfer switch and the all plugs connected. Okay, we're moving over to this side to the SEO. So this is our fuse, essentially our fuse box in here, our fuse box on breakers. We have a battery disconnect, so you'll use that battery disconnect if you are really shutting the trailer down for a period of time, and that's up to you. You can do that if you're just shutting it down for a week or two, or if it's ended the season and you're putting it away, you would definitely want to shut it down. The reason you want to do that is because there are parasitic losses inside the trailer, particularly with things like the propane detector, and it draws just enough current to pretty much drain your batteries down over a long period of time. So if we throw the battery disconnect, which is really on a switch here on a toggle, that's a very simple solution, then you will protect your batteries. One thing to note, if you do have the solar system, your batteries will continue to charge, even with the battery disconnect switched on. Down here we have your surge protector and electrical management system. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we go inside. And that really is protecting the equipment inside your trailer from bad power coming from the outside. This is the readout for it, for the EMS. Okay, and we have a normal mode and a bypass mode. We'll talk some more about that when we go inside. This one's just showing me E0, which is exactly what we're after, and 120 odd volts going in. Over on this side, and for another video, this is the water pump, and then there's a filter in place on that, and this has the, of course, the winterization T-valve in place as well on this trailer. Okay, so that's kind of the inside components. A lot of these things like maintaining your water pump or adjusting some of these settings, we're going to do in another sort of video and possibly live stream, where we talk in more depth on some of the maintenance work that we might want to do. Now, if I come around to this side, one other thing for people to know is this is your exit window. One really nice thing about the exit window is it opens up really far, so it's a great window for ventilation. That's obviously the frameless window. If you have air conditioning, you will have a digital controller. So this digital controller is capacitive. You just want to touch it, not to push on it. So gently Gently touch it with your fingertip. I'd say nice way to do this is to be very nice to the person in front of you as though you're on an airplane. All right, and they are capacitive in the same way. So you want to very gently push this. So if I tap, I'll bring this back, and if I gently tap on here, it'll bring up the different modes that we have. So we can switch this mode, this fan, into low, and we can hear it kick in. So what it does is it basically will turn on the air conditioning fan, and it will also then control our propane heater, so your furnace. So I'm just going to turn this guy off. It's on cool, and then once more, and there we go. So that turns it off. So it's very gentle. You really do not want to push hard on this. You push too hard on this, it's got foam and stuff in the back, and of course these are capacitive, so if you push too hard you can really screw these up. If it does happen, you need to pull the face off, loosen off the foam in behind, and then put this face back on, and usually that will solve the problem for you. Again, all the details that you require for operating this are in your manual. Your manual should be your first place to go. If you have any issues, go to your manual. And the reason we say that is because when you have issues and you come to us, and if we don't have this stuff off the top of our head, then we go to the manual and we basically take you through what it says in the manual first. So it might save yourself some time if you pull out that manual and just go to that section and go through it. If you can't figure it out from there, watch the videos, go to chat, or contact our parts and service team, and they will look after you very well. Okay, moving on around the trailer. So we talked about digital controller. Obviously your propane detector in this trailer is in this location. These can be sensitive. So they can be sensitive if the trailer is locked up and it's off gassing a little bit, which it will do when it's brand new. So you have all the, everything in here is kind of off gassing to different rates. So that could potentially go off because of off gassing. Also, if you have, methane from an animal of some sort, maybe it's a husband. Never say a wife. Maybe it's a husband or somebody, and or a puppy lying down right here. That can also set off the propane detector. So, if you don't smell propane, or your propane is turned off and this is going off and you have an animal, more than likely that's the reason. Okay, we work our way through. Fridge. So this is your fridge. This is an example of our 6 cubic foot fridge. All our fridges are 3-way in that they run AC, propane, which is the gas, and then they also have a function where it enables you to run on DC. So at the moment we're running this particular one. We may pull the fuses out. Yeah, no, this one. So this fridge, it goes back to what you left it at previously. So in this case, let's just pretend it's on AC. It will stay on AC. It will also preferentially go to AC if you plug in at a campsite somewhere. So we'll have AC. We can flip it over to propane if we want, but to make sure we also use propane in your tanks, and it is turned on. We have had that before with customers who didn't fill their propane tanks up and then say that their fridge is not working. We don't mind. We're always here to help people out. Sometimes they feel a little bit like embarrassed, I guess, but that's okay. It happens to us all, without a doubt. The place last place we ever really want to go to is DC. DC is going to pull from your batteries. A fridge like this running on DC will pull your batteries down really very quickly, very, very quickly. I'm going to be exceptionally careful. If you're on DC and you're connected to your vehicle and you stop somewhere and you go in for a lunch, you come back out, this has the potential to pull your vehicle battery down as well as your trailer battery. Not good. So in general, stay away from DC. Stick to AC and gas. In terms of coldness and setting it up, putting it to 5 isn't going to make it cool any faster. It's just how cold it eventually gets. So we say put it at 3 and let it cool down at 3, and then if that's too much or if that's too little, you can increase your coldness from there. So that is your fridge. It really isn't that complicated. to run the fridge, unless you have issues, and then you need to call us. Okay, moving on. We've already talked about the air conditioning unit. Just zip around here, Harrison. Obviously, if you pick up a stereo, then this is generally where the stereo location is. It also has location for, in this trailer anyway, the coax for the TV is also mounted here alongside a 120 volt outlet for people. So a lot of people will put their TV bracket on here somewhere, and we'll mount it on, and that will be in place. At present, while we're doing orientations, we're not mounting TV brackets. The reason we're not mounting them is because people don't know what size TV they have, and we've had instances in the past where people want to have a bigger TV, and we put the bracket in a certain place, and then it doesn't work for them. So we haven't been mounting it, but what we have been doing is basically giving people instructions on how to mount the TV bracket and where the structure is behind inside this wall to mount it onto. So it's really very simple to mount it on, but you do need a little bit of practical ability in your hands, and something to drill or screw it with strong arms to be able to screw the wood screws in. It's not super hard wood, so it's very, very doable. Moving around here, we've talked about windows already, so let's move up to our max fan. This is the max fan. Every trailer comes with a max fan. You can open the max fan vent on the roof. You can travel with this open or closed, but sort of turning it opens it or closes it, and then if we want to lock it in any position, we simply push this up. It's on a bit of a spline, so sometimes it doesn't go up immediately, and now it will every time I do it. Let's just stay there, it's kind of jammed. Just move it a little bit, and up she goes, nicely into place. This is our, so this will open it. We would like to always want to have it open when we're running it. So let's say this is open, and then we have our on and off switch, our change of direction switch. I'm not too sure they can see what I'm pointing at. Oh, they can. Okay. So the on and off switch here. So this is now on, and it is pulling air out. I have the fan controls, make everything faster or slower. I can immediately change direction. This is nice because it can really push air into the trailer. So it'll soft start, it'll soft slow down, then it'll soft start back up again. And oh, this is lovely. This is a really nice feel. Just gently pulling air into the trailer, which is quite beautiful. And then of course the last one is, if you see that one there, Harrison, that last one is the set temperature. So we can push, and we can essentially set it to 78 Fahrenheit, and that will maintain itself based on this temperature. It will set at 78 Fahrenheit. Okay, I'll turn that off. I believe that is mostly everything inside the trailer. What I didn't point to is that there's always a fire extinguisher there for you. And inside your bathroom, this is very difficult for me to get to. Oh, that's excellent. Thanks, Carson. Okay, so down the bottom we have our drain, and turning it clockwise, you'd like to make that drain, it is already locked, so you'd like to lock that drain in place. So if I turn it, it'll kind of just lock the drain in place. So let's lock that so that nothing can force its way back up. And then the last thing to talk about in here is your vent fan. So if I look inside, I have my vent fan up and down, with down being locked and up being open, and the button is right where my finger is here. And there's the vent fan running inside here. So I will turn that off. I will close it. So that's now closed for transport. Of course, we have our lights here, which we can turn on and off inside the bathroom. And of course, toilet seat is down as well. So that captures pretty much everything in here. So put everything away, lock everything up, turn off all the appliances, and we are good to move forwards. See, my partner in crime is coming for me now, Dave, and we're just in perfect time to work our way back into the perfect timing. Are we at 4 o'clock? Look at that.
There you go.
Hey. Working our way back into the orientation room. I like the way you're matching.
You like that?
You're sporting. Everyone's sporting the merchandise now.
And while we're on our way to the orientation room, this would be a good time. Oh, true.
We got late started. Our live stream got messed up on.
Oh, okay.
It just for some reason, but it's all good now. Okay, so we'll quickly work our way around the outside. Now I'm under pressure because I have the boss here, sort of judging my performance.
Performance review.
Performance review at 4:30, Carl. Okay, that's when I expect to be out of here. All right, so we'll just quickly work our way around the outside. Obviously, the porch light that we've talked about earlier, which has the switch on the inside, and obviously can be switched from the outside as long as obviously it's turned on. Which I haven't done. There we go. Switchable from inside, and then switchable obviously from the outside. This one has the exterior shower. It would normally have a hose connection in place. We've done this in lots of the other videos. So you just remove your hose, close it up, and lock it away like that. Nothing really to do in your tires. Always good to check your tire pressure. 50 psi is what we recommend in these tires. So a good check before you get going on any trip, just to make sure you haven't a slow puncture or something funny going on inside. Obviously, we'll remove all attachments from the trailer. Nothing on this side to talk about, so we're going to zip around the other side, and that's kind of on our way out. Oh, last thing we didn't talk about, Harrison. You're supposed to remind me. This is my performance review.
It's true.
So, vent hood, range hood vent. So this is the range hood vent, and when it's in operation, we want it open so it can push the air out or allow the air to escape. But when we're traveling, we'll just very gently lock it in place. Nothing too rough. Perhaps can be a little delicate. A little mechanical sympathy, which is what my first mentor said to me when I got my first car, and I kept telling him, every time I try and get it into gear, it's grinding. And one of the first things he said was, Carl, you need to have a little mechanical sympathy. Okay. Very good. This one has our power jack, which is nice because it also has a light in place. So the power jack with the light, so you can unhitch, see what you're doing, and just works up and down, or the other way around, up and down. Very simple. And it saves a lot of cranking at the same time. Okay, oh, we didn't talk about, the one thing we haven't talked about, I don't think we've done this in any video so far, is this auto changeover.
Propane regulator.
Propane regulator. Okay, so obviously our propane bottles and our supply. So the arrow here points to the tank where the first supply is coming from. Okay, and then, sorry.
You want me to?
Yeah.
So when this is pointed to this side and both tanks are open, this tank will drain first, and then when that one is empty, it'll automatically change over to this tank.
Right.
When it does that, this little, don't know if you can see it, it'll probably be red right now. When this tank goes empty, this will go red. So then you would flip this over to the other side so you can fill that tank and open this one. Well, it should already be open. This will go green. So basically this is like a fuel gauge.
Yeah.
You either know if your propane tank's full or empty.
Yeah, that's good.
So it's good to check that once in a while, because like I said, it'll automatically switch over. So once this one goes down, then you'll have no propane.
So it's a really good indicator of flip it over. If it's green, I've still got some in
You
here.
still got some in there.
But you could easily end up in a situation where you drain both down.
That's right.
And you didn't know about it.
That's
because
right.
You move from one to the
And
other.
then
So
a little chilly at night. So
yeah,
it's a good thing to check once in a while. I mean, the 20 pounders, they will last quite a long time.
yeah. There you go. We've done that one.
Be good highlights to take.
Make it a highlight reel. Okay, very good. So obviously we'll close this up. You'll put all your pieces inside. Close this up and then lock it for transport. Same deal goes over here. Our water heater. So we'll just do a very quick. Let's open up here in our water heater, our tank heater. This is the two-way one. It runs 120 or propane. Most important thing with this, if you want to run it on 120, and it will speed up your recovery time if you run both at the same time, but you need to make sure you have water in it, and this is where you would check. There's a bit of a relief valve, same as is on most hot water tank systems in homes, and if you just give it a little pull, it'll squirt some water, then you know you have a full tank of water, at which point and then you could use your 120 volt. Of course, if it's empty and you're trying to use your 120, you'll burn out the elements. So that is that one, and we'll go into more detail in terms of removing the arrow rod and all these types of things when we look at the level 2 or level 3 videos. Dumping, so assuming we packed up and now we're going to dump on the way out of the site, we have our light we connect up our hose. We'll pull the black first, get all that out, close it off, and then we'll pull the grey, wash out our sewer tube, and then we can disconnect, reconnect everything back up, put our sewer tube away in its holder at the rear. Obviously, if you have cable TV plugged in, we remove it, close that back over. Propane furnace sits in behind here. Kind of handy because we can remove this and get access to it. Again, that's later on in the video, but if anybody really wants to get into the detail, I would say get into the manual, and you'll see lots of details on repairing the propane heater if required. So we get into our water fill area. So we have our city water, which is on this side, and it has a little mesh in there in that cone. That's a one-way valve. So that one-way valve is stopping water coming back out when it's in this position. So if you take it out and you spin it around and put it in the other way, and you turn on your water pump on the inside, it's going to eject water out this way. So this is the way it needs to be all the time. This will be your hose fill. So we can push this in and it'll fill up directly off the hose. I don't think there's anything else to really talk about there. It's just that's just a water fill, right? So again, another this particular trailer has another hatch in place, so we would lock that off before we move on. Whoops. What's going on here? There we go. Lock that off. And finally, this one has a removable power cord, which is simply on here, so that would pull that off and then pull my power cord out, roll it up and put it away. Definitely. Roll it up and put it away. So that's kind of the exterior of the trailer. There isn't that much in the trailer. You know, if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of things, you could spend all day going through things. But in terms of general use of the trailer, we test it all before it goes out. And you know, we would say a large percentage of the time, the issues we have are more about not knowing how to use the systems, or turn them on or turn them off. Most of the time, not all the time, but we deal with everything. So when those issues come up, we deal with them very quickly. All right, we're going to quickly zip into the orientation room, take you through a couple of the systems that we haven't really discussed, and then we'll Dave and I will jump in the trailer and we'll do some final questions and answers and wrap this up fairly quickly. Okay. Okay. It's plugged in. I meant to plug it out.
Oh, just pull it out.
Okay. It'll reset, right?
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to complete an exercise here that you would do if you get to the campsite. You get to the campsite, back your trailer in, plug in the power, and then wait 3 minutes. That gives me a 3-minute timer.
If you have a surge protector.
If you have a surge protector. Yeah. So it gives me 3 minutes to get on to the to get through the rest of this. We talked about this earlier. Solar panel, 190 watt nowadays. Delivers 9.3 amps when it's fully clean and it's running at full, you got full sun. All it does is it converts your solar into electricity and feeds it down through the solar charger and down into your batteries. And so typically when you have a solar panel, you'll have two 6-volt batteries. They'll give you 225 amp hours. So solar only charges batteries. That's it. That's all it does. The solar controller determines how much charge is going into the batteries. The solar controller has a Bluetooth functionality as well as this readout here. The Bluetooth functionality will give you the same features as we can see on the readout. So it'll tell you how much power is going into your battery. It'll tell you the current state of charge for your batteries as well. And we'll leave that alone like that for the moment. From our DC, from the battery then supplies either through our inverter or straight into our trailer, through the panel in our trailer. So the battery runs through the battery disconnect switch. We talked about this earlier. If I throw the battery disconnect switch, then it will disengage all power from inside the trailer, including turning off the propane detector. So good state to do if you're shutting her down for a period of time. The inverter, a lot of questions about the inverter. What the inverter does is it takes DC power from the batteries again, it's It's not connected directly to the panel. DC power from the batteries through the inverter, and then converts it to 120 volts AC, which then runs into your trailer, and you have the option of either a single outlet or multiple outlets, only at time of build. 3 minutes are up, perfect timing. 3 minutes are up, we have a surge protector on here, and it's showing us on the EMS that we talked about earlier. It's now showing us the error 0 that popped up there, and E0 is normal, means we're good. So let's just say we pulled into a campsite, we have a surge protector, and we plugged the power in, we've waited the 3 minutes, it comes back with E0, we're good to go. If it came back with E1, that means you have a reverse polarity at the campground for whatever reason, and we need to move because this isn't going to work for us. If you were using a generator, then we would flip from normal use into bypass. Reason being that generators have a floating ground rather than fixed, so this will not work unless we flip it into bypass mode. Okay.
So you can see that one's reading a P4.
Yeah.
Right now, so that's
PE4.
P stands for previous error.
Yeah.
So there was low voltage. So I know somebody was using the microwave here, probably had the battery charger on, and there was a fluctuation of power. So it probably shut off and then came back on. So that's showing you its previous error. That's what happened.
There you go. Live streaming. We didn't get to see this. I mean, any of the other live
Well, that's the
streams.
first time this one's showing a fault, so that's what it was.
Yeah. So there
it
you
tells
go.
us low voltage.
This is like live Q&A. We're getting Dave straight up. Throw a question at him. Throw any challenge at him.
There you go.
Okay, so that's excellent. So that's really what's going on there. We work our way through. We've already talked about the relief on the heater, the tank, water heater, water tank, and the 120 volt switch. So this has been taken care of. Again, read the manual, very important. We've kind of talked about the water pump and the filter again for something in level 2. We talked about the digital display. This is what the analog looks like. So if you do not have air conditioning, this is what you get instead. Okay, and it's really controlling the furnace. For instance, it's all it's doing is controlling the furnace. That's what this is. Otherwise, the furnace is controlled from the digital. Okay, and then for those people who buy a trailer without air conditioning and then want to upgrade to air conditioning, you're still with this plus manual control from the air conditioning unit. We cannot put the digital in afterwards. We talked about the display, so we've gone through that already. And we talked about the vent fan, and this is an example of the oven. So same deal in that it's gas on and then spark on. Plus you would have to light the pilot yourself. It does not automatically light. And I know there's a video of that in our orientations videos, which you can download from Vimeo. We've already talked about the fridge. We talked about this. Anything but DC is great. Stay away from DC. Stay away from dead batteries. DC dead car.
There you go.
Potentially dead car. So we very careful with the DC. All right, so that pretty much wraps up this area. We're going to jump into the 19, which is the one where we'll do the next orientation in, which will be next week sometime. We're going to jump into the 19 and just see if there's any questions that Dustin hasn't answered.
Okay.
And if not, we can burn a few minutes just chatting.
Okay.
Better things. So we did a quick video. We kind of went a pre-stream.
All right.
There, we were just kind of streaming out towards the vehicle, towards the trailers that were on delivery today.
Okay, right on.
You know, Paul, which customers they were?
Yeah, there's 6 of them. I don't remember.
Oh, wow. All right, Dave, come and join me.
Cozy.
We spend that much time close enough to each other. I don't think we're.
There you go.
That works. So yeah, Carl, log on here, guys. If you have any questions for us, just feel free to put them in. If you can get to them.
Okay, where am I at here? I just need to zip into. And then Twitch. Refresh. See, you changed like.
I did. Looked like Samuel for a minute there.
All right, so yeah, guys, if you have any questions, Carl and Carl and Dave are here.
Waiting for this to boot up, Harrison, so I can...
Yeah, we don't have anything so far.
Oh, okay. Good. Well, I noticed people watching, and...
It says we have 13 on here.
Oh, that's great. So,
Nice.
and that's what this is all about, right? This is just about, for you, our customers, moving through that. So, what happened to the beard? I guess they must be talking about you, Dave.
What? Yeah, it's summertime now.
It's the summer beard.
Yeah,
Shed it.
that's right. It's too hot.
David didn't want to go for the super top cut.
No.
Didn't want to go for the top cut.
Well,
Just went
no.
for the
Little by
went
little.
for the bottom cut instead.
That's what the hat's for.
I just succumbed to the pressure. It was like there's nothing. All of a sudden, this is not growing as well as it used to.
Let me turn this off.
Turn the light off. Yeah. So I've been waiting for years to try and get rid of it, but Sharon wasn't crazy about it. Anyway, it's all changed now. All right, I'm still waiting on.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything else.
No questions?
So no questions. Good. I mean, any other tips and tricks for people now this time of the year? Maybe even on the winterization. People coming out of winterization or winterize.
Well, I guess the most important thing, especially if you just got your new trailer, is just to make sure that the hot water tank is out of bypass mode. Everything else you hook up, you're going to be good to go. There's really nothing to do because we blow out our trailers. We just put a little antifreeze in the P-traps, so you're basically ready to go as long as that hot water tank's out of bypass.
Okay.
And the ones I'm sending out now, I'm making sure that they are out of there, so you're set and ready to go. But some people could have had it sitting at their house for a month already before everybody's been in quarantine. So
Yeah.
the most important thing is to make sure that that hot water tank is filled. So that way, if you're using the electric side, you don't burn out your element because it won't take long to burn out. Other than that, you're pretty much ready to go.
Right. Okay. Good. Good. Well, guys, I think I would look at some of the other videos as well, depending on what trailer you have. So if you specifically want to see where things are in the NE or in the fifth wheel, we've already done those. I think the next, have we done the 19, Harrison?
No, not yet.
Live stream orientation?
I think the 19 is next, and then the 17 A and B.
17
After that.
A and B, which will probably just do the 17
Roll into
B
the B,
because
yeah.
pretty much all, it's got more features or things than the A has got.
That's right.
So yeah, next we'll do the 19. But if you're specifically looking at 21 NE, the classic, or the fifth wheel, and you're trying to figure out where the locations of all these things are, we've already done that. So I would say go back and have a look at those. Go back and have a look at those live streams. And as ever, we are here for you. So if you have any questions as you receive your trailer, or you just need to figure things out, then by all means give us send an email to partsandservice@escapetrailer.com, and Dustin will be the first to respond to you for sure. So that's that part. If you're online, I would say jump on and do the comment form. Well, actually, anyone can jump on and do the comment form. We really need your feedback on this. We're doing this obviously to help you guys. So just give us content, and we'll start to focus on that specific content for you as we move through these on weekly or twice a week, this sort of basis. So please come ahead, put it into the comments in the comment form, feed it back to us, and the winner, when we get these comments forms in, still gets free merchandise.
Nice.
Right, so whatever it is,
Your choice.
could be a hat.
Could be a hat.
Could be a hat. Great. All right. Well, listen. Thanks very much, everybody. Bye from Dave.
Bye-bye. Bye from Carl.
Bye from Carl. We are Escape Trailer, built for you. Thank you.